Honorable East India Company, in quest of gold, touched the shores of a gold mine, India. Here, the company encountered hostile rivals, and most hostile to the European constitution: the Indian weather. The British were struggling hard for a respite that only the hills could provide. Two Scottish officers, Alexander Jarrett and Patrick Jarrett, were the first ones to report about the existence of a village named Simla. British men and women travelled through India with enormous quantity of baggage, very often carrying provisions for several weeks. The entourage had to manage the Odyssey entirely on its own. Victor Jacquemont, a French traveller in 1831, observed that Simla is a resort of the rich and invalids, with around 60 British-owned cottages scattered over the peaks of the mountains. Despite the opening up of the sanatoriums, access to Simla remained very difficult. There was not even a single road in the hills for the carriages to move. The hill passages were very narrow and steep. The men usually rode, while invalids and women were carried along in a dhuli. A journey to Simla was an ordeal. It was very difficult to travel long distances anywhere in India. There were just a few rough roads. Roads in the hills were out of question. Lord Dalhousie charted out a plan for the construction of the railways in India. On 15 August 1854, the first passenger train of the East Indian Railway Company puffed between Howrah and Hooghly, another hill station of importance. Darjeeling was equally difficult to reach. Darjeeling was the first hill station to have a railway line. An outright success that emboldened the British engineers, who were contemplating a railway line to Simla, since British hearts were pulsating in the summer capital, Simla. The railway line with all the stations, station yards, sidings, crossing places, bridges, viaducts, offices, warehouses, houses for employees, and fixed machinery necessary for the operation of the railways, was ready for operation by 2nd November 1903. The Kalka Shimla Railway is a tribute to those British engineers and the Indian workers who marched shoulder to shoulder and created an engineering marvel unknown in any other part of the world at the time. Immediately after its departure from Kalka station, the train enters the foothills, beginning its picturesque serpentine climb. To achieve a height of 1,400 meters, in a distance of 96.6 kilometers, 107 tunnels were bored totaling 8 kilometers. The construction of 988 bridges, including numerous arch bridges, and 107 tunnels, in a short span of 3 years, speaks of the ability of the men at the command of the superintending engineer. 3,752 feet long is the longest tunnel on the Kalka Shimla Railway line, and bears the name of engineer Captain Berog, who failed to align both ends of the tunnel, resulting in financial losses to the company. He was fined 1 rupee for his error. However, unable to bear the humiliation, he committed suicide. The authorities honored the captain and paid tribute by not only naming the station Berog, but also making it the finest station on the Kalka Shimla Railway line, with a restaurant and a rest house for the visitors. The entire line required 988 small and big bridges to crisscross valleys and ravines. Normally, The trains run between 15 to 20 kilometers per hour. The practice of bearing a burning torch during evening hours continues. It indicates the exact position of the man holding the token to proceed, and helps the driver in collecting the same, while the train is moving. The government of India took over the line on 1st January 1905, and declared it open to the general public the same day. Simla, the grandest of all the hill stations in the country. The resort of the rich, was the costliest town in India. Simla, the Little England, was far beyond the reach of many British. British engineers, and armies of Indian labourers, bridged treacherous rivers with ever-shifting courses, crossed some of the hottest parts of Indian deserts, marched through rugged countryside, and impenetrable jungles, and they cut high into the Himalayas, and studded it with a jewel. And now, Simla, the beautiful place, and the best part of India, was not far away. Calcutta to Shimla, a journey that normally spanned 60 days, was reduced to 60 hours. Once a resort of the rich, Simla became a resort of the common man.